Hello and welcome to Hey, I love this thing I just watched and I really want to talk about it, the boneless episode where we talk about things we just watched. I'm Michael.
I'm Helena.
I'm Dan.
This time we're talking about the Prince episode of New Girl because it makes no sense. So, I really wanted to talk about this one episode of New Girl because it's weird and it doesn't make any sense. So I forced you guys to watch it. Well, I forced Dan to rewatch it.
Yeah, I have recently just finished watching for the first time all of New Girl.
Same. So I watched the Prince episode years ago, and then randomly on TV, and then I watched the rest of New Girl recently.
Why?
Why did I watch the rest of New Girl?
Yeah.
Because it's on Netflix.
Yeah, I needed a show to be on.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I genuinely enjoyed watching New Girl. And
Where
the
would
ending
you
wasn't
rank-
shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know because I have not. I've watched the Prince episode and bits of this first season.
Yep.
When it was on TV after school.
Yep.
10 years ago?
This
Maybe
is
not
why
10 years ago, maybe like 8 years ago. I don't know.
But this is why the Prince episode is so fucking fascinating. Because why?
Because it's Prince.
we should explain the outline because you probably did. Do you know the setup for the show?
So there's a girl called Jess. She lives with 3 boys. She ends up dating one of them, which I only found out in this episode, but it's the middle one.
Middle one?
And the one that isn't Schmidt and isn't black.
Yep. Nick.
He does scream his name at the end of this episode actually, which I did find helpful.
Yeah, so Jess and Nick are dating. They've been dating for a short while at this point, but they only got together right at the end of season 2.
Oh, okay. So Jess and Cece?
Yeah, Cece. I completely forgot. I was like, who the fuck is Chi?
They nearly get run over by Prince's assistant and get invited to his party, and everyone else gate crashes. And just before they head off, middle Nick says, "I love you," and apparently that's the first time he said it.
Yes, that's the
I
first time.
didn't know that was weird until she stared gormlessly back at him, and then I was like, "Oh, he's not said that before."
And then she does finger guns. Yeah.
Finger guns, because Jess is the archetypical awkward girl.
She is awkward, but I mean, I consider myself quite awkward, but she makes me feel awkward.
Yeah.
I really don't like her in it, at all. She needs to grow the fuck up. She needs to just lie. If someone says "I love you" in front of everyone else, you say "I love you too," and then you talk about it later.
Just lie.
Yeah. Yes, you say
So
face. It's a normal human thing to do.
What you're saying is you don't get free therapy from Prince.
Well, no. If the option is reply and say "I love you" to someone, or free makeover therapy by Prince, you go for option 2.
I mean, it's a bit more difficult these days.
I
feel like if it was the ghost of Prince, it'd be even fucking weirder.
It's just a lot weirder. It's not more difficult. It's just a lot scarier.
Yeah, right. I think I'd be too distracted by the ghost thing. I'd be like, my issues don't seem that big of a deal anymore. Actually,
I think if he cared,
putting this into perspective, Ghost Prince.
I think if he cared, I'd get over the ghost thing eventually.
I guess that brings me to my first question. Why does Prince care?
Because he's Prince. So, actually, it's as in so the character in the show, in the episode, or the actual person, Prince. Why? As in, are you asking why does Prince care about Jess, or why does Prince care about New Girl?
First, why does character Prince care about character Jess?
Because
it's Prince.
Because it's Prince. He's bored.
He's the god of love.
He's quite bored. I don't know. He just saw 2 people being awkward together and was like, "I'll fix this," and teleported in.
Yeah, he gets a few jump scares in this.
Yeah. He is a ghost.
He does get some. It does get weirder. The setup is pretty weird, but there's some. I didn't like the bit where he locks her in a cupboard.
Yeah. She's
and then teleports in there with her. That's weird.
He's just magic.
Well, I assume he's got a magic cupboard with 2 doors in it, but that looked like a fire hazard considering how much polyester they're both and nylon they're both wearing, and he lights a flame.
Prince has no cares for property damage or public safety. Quite famously.
Another thing that happens in this episode is that they reference him not being very good at frisbee, and I can't tell if that's a thing or if it's just a joke in the show.
I think it's just a joke. I know he got really upset
Jokes
about.
funny though.
I know he got really upset about table tennis.
Why did he get upset about it? As in that they made it look like he lost?
No, so he can. So I was reading about this episode because I wanted to know why is Prince on New Girl, which I think is a valid question.
Yeah, it was it was my next question.
Yeah, so he not answering that question, but answering the table tennis question. He really likes table tennis. Like it's his favorite thing. One of his favorite things to do. So when he got there, he surprised everyone with how good he was. And then I think one of the producers beat him.
Oh.
He got kind of upset about it.
Yeah, you don't do that to Prince.
No.
I mean, I did love the bit right at the end where they're like, "Wait, where's Cece?" and she's just like beating him at table tennis.
Yeah, or it might have been the actress that played Cece that actually beat him.
Oh, maybe.
Because I just think it's really funny that he was like, "I'm really good at this."
Yeah, it sounds like was it one of his like conditions of being on the show was like they made them have a bit of table tennis in it?
No,
or did they just want to lean into it because it was actually a factual thing about Prince?
Or there might have just been a table tennis at the house that they rented.
You're saying that's not Prince's house?
It's not.
I can't imagine anything with Prince in it not being like meticulously like organised by his assistants and stuff though.
So he was very particular about what was in the episode. So how he became involved in New Girl is he was asked to be in a different episode of it. He was asked to be in the Virgins episode, which is where
context.
It's where the group go through the stories of how they lost their virginity.
Yeah, it's quite a good episode.
Yeah,
it's a good episode, and it's got like
sounds really awkward.
It's got Dylan O'Brien in it. Yeah. Who's the other one? I can't remember.
I can't remember. It's not like a big actor.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happens. He was asked to be in that, but he said no. He had something else to do and couldn't be in it. But for some reason, he loves New Girl. New Girl was like one of his favorite TV shows, and it was like one of the few TV shows that he watched kind of religiously. Why?
I mean, there had only been 2 seasons at that point. Oh, that's sad. He never got to see the end of it. I did have to check the comparison of when the Prince episode came out to when he died, because if that was the last thing he did, I would have found that quite entertaining. It wasn't, but I was like, imagine if the last thing...
Entertaining is the right word. But...
No, but like, imagine if the last thing that Prince ever did was be on an episode of New Girl.
I would rise from the grave and do something else.
It's very Prince-like. It's very Prince. It's very weird. But yeah, no, it's one of 2 acting things he's ever done on TV.
So that's what really stood out to me. That was the hook. When you told me that he hasn't really done anything else in TV.
Yeah. Was the other one the Animaniacs episode?
It was the Muppets.
Okay. The Muppets, yeah.
He was on the Muppets.
Everyone and their mum's been on the Muppets though.
Yeah, but no, up until that point, he'd only ever done the Muppets as like acting. He'd done TV shows, but he'd never like been in a sitcom or anything.
Yeah.
Do you think that he got starstruck about Zooey Deschanel?
I can't imagine Prince getting starstruck at anything.
No.
I can't imagine him feeling anything other than like a basic level of emotion. Like he has like set level of emotion and it never fluctuates. He's just like that.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think he would. I think he's very used to people screaming at him.
I did love the bit where he first appears and he's like, "I'm sorry, how rude of me. I haven't given you enough time to freak out yet. You may do so now."
Yeah, that was the part where actually I felt that Jess was less awkward than Nicholas. Yeah, Nick.
Yeah.
That was bad. I really didn't like that.
It was a weird bit. The whole episode was weird. The shot of them 3 sat next to each other on a bench with Prince in the middle is such a weird shot.
Yeah, but it's also really dark. And
it is.
Yeah. I mean, that whole I love you and the other person not saying back trope is like a really popular thing to do in all sorts of comedies. It's like, the next stage, the first sort of issue once someone's in a relationship for a while. It's just really awkward, isn't it?
It's standard like sitcom stuff, which is weird because Prince was offered to be on the show. He said he wanted to do it. This was the episode that followed one of the Super Bowls. So this was like on directly after the Super Bowl. So they got Prince for that episode because they wanted like a big thing to grab an audience, which it did. But he had so many like things that he wanted to be on the episode. He would only be on it if he could do certain things. One of them was, so the script was written a lot because they kept sending to him and he kept saying no because they wanted the episode to be about them saying I love you to each other, and Prince wanted to be the person that got Jess to say I love you.
Okay.
Like that was his and he wanted to be there when it happened. He wanted his Prince character to be there when it happened, which is insane. Because they at one point they had it from like one of the writers or the director or like the showrunner said that the ending was in their flat, and they said it there, and they sent that to Prince, and he refused. Like 4 days before they started shooting, he was like, "No, I want to be there when it happens." So they rewrote it, and he said yes. And it's just insane that like these little things. And he was the one that came up with the idea of doing a makeover.
Yeah, they have the little like montage thing.
Yeah, that was his idea.
That was not great.
Fully his idea. How
it's
great
just
is
so
that?
strange that like you're at a party, but you drag this random girl up to your room and then get her to model outfits in front of you. It's just, if it was anyone else, it would be really, really, really weird and a huge sort of faux pas and a bit scary.
Yeah, like but it's also Prince.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, he just wants you to literally wants like his character. I guess because it's Prince, like you're supposed to know his character and sort of what to expect from him, in so much as that you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a hyper version of Prince, I guess. Like a I can't think of a word for it.
I know. I think Prince just like that. I think he
Oh,
he
yeah,
was just like that. Also, something else. Just the idea that he wanted to be on the show is insane in itself.
Absolutely, it's so weird because it's a really mundane, not particularly exciting show.
It's a very meh sitcom. Like it's good, but it's not like amazing.
It's been on TV before, and I've not been able to sit through an episode of it.
Yeah.
Like I get bored or frustrated or a bit grossed out. Speaking of grossed out, weird opening. Did Prince sign off on that?
The panties bit.
Yeah, they're discussing how to say panties, and they're taking Jess's pants out. Who gets to take Jess's pants out of the washing machine that they all share?
That's how a lot of episodes kind of start, in a sort of awkward, mid-awkward conversation.
Why is she leaving her pants? I mean, she says they're not her pants, which is weird. But why are there a pair of pants in the like? Who leaves their wet laundry in the washing machine? That's so rude.
That was probably Schmidt.
Huge, huge,
Schmidt.
like.
Yeah, at this point in the show, I fucking hated Schmidt because like.
Me too.
Through most of season 2, Schmidt is just the fucking worst. Like he gets better, he becomes a better character. But but at this point, when I was first watching it, I still hated him. There is a bit like in the final season where Schmidt is talking to his daughter and like calls back to climbing through the hedge to get to the party, and the kid's just like, well, yeah, it was Prince. But yeah, I say at this point in the show, not a fan. This is also when Coach is living with them as well, so there's like the 4 guys in the flat.
Coach was an odd thing.
I did love like Winston and Coach like blagging their way into the party. Yeah. And then Nick and Schmidt try it. It just is a failure.
I have Trojan horse my way into a club actually, where not where it's been like
Prince there?
I'm not on the list. No, it's when I've been too drunk to get past the bouncers, and my friends have literally. Like, we called it penguining, but similar principle where you just have someone directly in front of you, directly behind you, and you weren't allowed to say anything. Yeah. Like, you hand over your £5 and you go in and you do not make eye contact. You just go inside.
Yep. Sounds about right. So yeah, Prince he must have been really excited to do the show, is all I'm thinking. Because he wanted to do all of the like stereotypes of an episode like this. Where like he gets to do the makeover, he gets to do the montage, he gets to do the nice emotional talk, he gets to be weird, and it's so bizarre because Prince must have had offers for every single TV show that could possibly get.
Or is it one of those things like the busy restaurant oxymoron where everyone assumes that Prince won't want to do it, so they don't ask?
Well, they didn't ask him; he asked them. That's what's weird about it.
That might be why he's not been on much, isn't because people didn't want him. It's because they were too scared to ask him, so he'd say no. And he's like, oh man, no one's asking me to be on TV shows. That sucks. Okay, I'm just going to put my heart and soul out there and I'm going to ask them and let's see what they say.
Yeah. Because I think he asked to be on it in season 1 and then they gave him an episode and he said, I can't do that. And then like a couple seasons later, it's just weird. Also, the New Girl's quite well known for its cameo stuff.
Yeah, at the end of season 2, Taylor Swift is in it in like as quite a big cameo. She's in like one scene, and I was like, oh, okay.
She's in like less than a minute, I think she's in it for.
Speaking of cameos, did you read about the Kardashians in this episode?
It's amazing. I love the fact that the Kardashians got cut.
I did not know that bit. Okay.
So yeah, they filmed a cameo for it, and then when Prince was talking about cameos, he said, "God, I hope it's not the Kardashians."
Yeah. Um,
Okay, that's
no,
pretty funny.
that's great because there are other cameos, and they tend to play like either random characters for one episode or a family member that is in a couple of episodes. Like, Jess's mum is Jamie Lee Curtis,
Yeah.
which is such a weird. How did it get so many?
I expected Megan Fox to just be a cameo, but she becomes like a pretty main character during the last couple of
Yeah,
seasons as well.
well, that's
That was because Zoe Deschanel was on maternity leave. Like they
Yes.
basically rewrote most of season 5 to
Yeah.
to get around that. I wonder what it would have originally been, to be honest.
probably very similar with
Wait.
just
Yeah.
She goes on maternity leave and they keep filming.
There's about
Yeah, so
5 or 6 episodes without her in
it's-
it.
6 episodes where
She's
Jess-
doing jury duty.
Jess is doing jury duty. She has to be sequestered and put in a hotel.
Oh,
So
man, American sitcoms are so weird sometimes.
yeah, so they get Megan Fox, and then she becomes like a main character
She sort of,
kind of.
yeah, she ends up dating Nick for a while.
Yeah, and then she's even in it later on.
Yeah,
Like she
yeah.
comes back to be in it. But yeah, no. So I think what happened, why the whole like maternity leave and Megan Fox at that point, Zoe Deschanel was an executive producer. So I think she was just like, yeah, no, go ahead, keep filming, we'll do it.
No, I don't think it's bad. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like, oh, they should have stopped filming or cut her out or whatever. I'm just saying like it's just pretty balmy that a show called New Girl
Doesn't
had
have
like
the
5,
New
6
Girl.
episodes without New Girl in it.
Yeah.
I just think that's really
I mean-
funny rather than them going on like hiatus or something.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it
everyone
was
else
like
still
season
needs to get paid.
5. I guess they'd sort
Yeah.
of like established
Pretty
themselves enough at that point. Like,
It was season 5, and they got Megan Fox to replace her.
yeah, basically.
Like
Did,
they got.
did New Girl get hit by the writer's strike at all?
I don't think so. I think it was after.
idea.
Was it after?
I think it was like just after the writer's strike, because the writing is consistent, not great, but it's consistent. It doesn't change much.
No,
So,
you always get the sort of awkward jokes and stuff. Like the bit where she's talking to Prince and he says that's stupid and she just replies you're stupid. Like that's the sort of thing that would happen quite a bit in the show. But
Yeah, well,
like
yeah,
her
no,
just
that was-
panicking while she's sitting there next to Prince was great. Like-
Yeah, because she has the emotional maturity of a 2-year-old.
And I think this episode is kind of like, oh, isn't it weird that Prince is in it? And then Nessa just roasting the show.
Sorry.
No,
I don't
no, go
resent
ahead.
being told to watch this episode because it was probably the most interesting episode I could have watched, but I am so not going to watch the other episode.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think there's that she's that manic pixie dream girl,
Yeah,
but for a sitcom.
yeah.
And it's
And a
like,
main
okay, at least
character.
Manic Pixie Dream Girls in like some of the films I've enjoyed, it's like, oh, cool. Like, at least there's other redeeming features.
Yeah.
But when it's literally the whole show is about her and how quirky and random and awkward and difficult and confused she is,
Yeah.
which I imagine is what the show is about. Because honestly,
Yeah.
what else could it be about?
I'm just.
Um,
I think
It's
you've
quite sort of general sitcom most of the time as well.
Yeah.
think
I
you
mean,
just
how
made
would
me
you say
really-
it compares to things like Parks and Rec and
Oh, nowhere near.
Yeah, no,
Nowhere near.
The
Like
Office?
you just made me realize I don't actually like New Girl.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because-
I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of relieved. I was judging you a little bit.
Well, no, I kind of liked New
Sorry,
Girl,
Dan.
but I think you've made me realize because I was thinking, does Jess ever not is Jess ever not like that throughout the show? No.
Yeah, I think compared to like
There's no character development.
Like, yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
like about some of these other like long-running sitcoms
well, that's
is the character
thing.
development. Like,
Yeah.
even like for all its faults, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like the characters change and develop, and it's quite
Like-
interesting. And like, but I feel with New Girl, it's so rigid that I could watch an episode from season 1 and then watch an episode from season 4 and then watch an episode from season 3, and to be honest, she'd be the same person.
Yeah, no, you should really. I think you just made me realize I don't actually like the show because yeah, I was just thinking in the final episode, it's like, is she emotionally mature? No, the whole group indulge her fear of moving on by having a recap of everything that's happened on the show. It's great for the show. It's like a final episode, not great as in like character development.
I suppose when your whole premise is that you're a new girl on the block,
yeah, I think like
Yeah.
having her develop is kind of writing yourself off the
yeah,
you know,
if they
concept.
didn't have a season 7, then like the end of season 6 would have been good enough. Like when she like because the whole overarching story is that her and Nick should be together essentially.
Yeah.
And so at the end of season 6, when they're like properly like get together, it's really nice, and it's like cool. They could have not had the next season, but it's still, it was still alright.
It's that weird episode of Parks and Rec where
it's exactly
they
it's exactly the same, where they do it the time skip of like 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Except it works in Park and Rec because it is deliberately wrapping up all of the storylines.
Yeah.
Whereas the last season was just, and here's more of the story.
This is probably more in line with, say, like How I Met Your Mother, but it doesn't end as badly. No.
To be fair, though, I enjoy How I Met Your Mother in small doses.
In single episodes.
Yeah.
No, that thing that E4 did where they put 2 next to each other, but they'd never be like, and the next day is the next 2 episodes. No, they just picked,
it was the same like 10 on repeat.
Yeah, they just span a wheel of 10 episodes, whatever 2 it landed on, they picked that for the day. It was like episode 5, episode 6, episode 17, episode 80.
Thing is that I'm sure I've seen quite a lot of it. I think they've stopped doing that because I quite often will watch 4 Music and E4 at dinner time.
It's a great state. We support E4 and 4 Music.
Oh yeah, because they show Malcolm in the Middle, and
they do.
I've never seen Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh, we should do a boneless episode on Malcolm in the Middle.
It's brilliant. And
it's such a good show.
It's not suitable for Hey, I Love That Movie because 1, it's not a movie, and 2, I've watched it consistently throughout the years because it's always like on repeat.
It also
I have watched it like all the way through quite recently because we started with season 1 on like whatever 4 E4, maybe 4 Music, and then we just got into it and started, and it's all on all 4, so we just not marathoned it, but like we watched it like consistently every day.
Yeah.
It's also like it changed. Like Malcolm in the Middle changed how sitcoms were made.
Did it?
Yeah, big impact on like who the story revolved around. Well, we can talk about that in the Malcolm in the Middle boneless episode. The episode where we forced Dan to watch every single episode of Malcolm in the
Just
Middle.
all of Malcolm in the Middle.
We'd have to force Dan to watch 2 episodes and then he'd watch the rest.
Yeah, I'd probably watch the rest. If I can have a show that's... when you need a show that's just on?
Season 3, episode 14 of Malcolm in the Middle. Well, that's the episode we watch of every TV show.
Yeah, this is now the... Is that the pi number?
No.
3.14?
3.14.
Yeah. Okay, cool. This is now the pi episode, not the bonus episode.
I'm not repeating that.
No. Well, going back to things that... going back to the Prince episode, there's one thing that I want to know that I was disappointed that... Well, 2 things I was disappointed didn't happen. One was that at the end, it would have been great if a security guard just like rugby tackled Schmidt off the stage. But before that,
would have been great. That would have been great.
When they're all playing Lemon Mouth, just holding a lemon in their mouth for as long as they can, I really wanted Prince to do that. I was like, is Prince gonna do Lemon Mouth?
That would have been really funny, but I would have been actually surprised because that's the sort of thing that like cameos don't do.
No,
like,
that is your B plot in this episode.
Yeah, will Prince do Lemon Mouth?
But then like where it ends with them like performing on stage with Prince. And then just the cut to them all sitting on the sofa.
Yeah.
It was so good. It's just like, did that just happen?
Was it good? I didn't think it was good. I found it really annoying. Because it does that
where
sitcoms... where it tells you exactly what just happened. Oh, did that really just happen? When you I'm like, shut the fuck up, I was here.
And where sitcoms have to like return to the status quo at the end as well, so that the episodes can continue.
That's standard sitcom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that totally went over my head about the fact that they're like, how did you know the words to that song?
I
assumed it was like a popular Prince song. I don't know his songs very well.
That was
like, maybe
Prince
she just knows his song, but and she features in it.
Yes, so that is also very funny. So Fall in Love Tonight was a new Prince song that debuted on New Girl.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Not long before the show, it was written in that they would get on stage and like dance around, and then I think it's either the showrunner or Prince said, "No, I want Zooey Deschanel to sing on it." So they had her record like 4 or 5 days before it, not long before it was made. They said like, "Yeah, can they get Joey to sing on it?" And he said, sure, send over a voice recording of her singing it and they'll mix it into the track. And then the track was officially released with her voice on it. But because Prince is Prince, that version has been removed.
Oh, right.
Oh, no.
Because Prince is Prince and he is weird about copyright.
That's probably why he like didn't want an old song in the episode. That's why he like wrote one specifically for it. Maybe.
No, there is a song, and there is one of his earlier songs in the episode when he's doing the makeover scene.
Oh right. Yeah, I'm also
Which
not that familiar with Prince's music.
I imagine because it's because you never hear it because it's under such strict copyright. No TV show is willing to pay for it, and it's insane. It's weird just that he was like, yeah, I guess the only way you can get a Prince song on your TV show is if you get Prince on your TV show.
Yeah,
because it's going to come with it.
I'm just seeing what other music.
Was there a Prince song on the Muppets?
Probably. He probably sung at some point.
I hope
Can't
Kermit
stop him.
sang too. Just on one of Prince's earlier songs, it's just Kermit's voice mixed in the background.
He's like weird experimental. they got Kermit to do lay down a voice for it. But yeah, this episode is because the rest of New Girl isn't like this. The episodes aren't that self-contained. It's relatively run-on.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, this is probably the most self-contained episode out of all of them.
Solidly.
That's the point, though, isn't it? Because they're going to have a hell of a lot of people that are not necessarily that have watched other episodes of New Girl.
Yeah, that's true.
But I didn't struggle to follow along, and I didn't feel like I missed very much by not having watched the first, seasons.
No, just like one of the final things about this, audiences loved the episode. Like it grew in audience for like a significant of time after that episode aired.
Yeah.
Critics hated it.
I think that's because it is quite bad.
It is that was the main thing, is it was like, it's cool Prince, isn't it? The episode is bad. It doesn't make any sense. It's slow. It's weirdly timed. The cameos are weird.
It is weirdly timed because Prince only shows up at maybe the halfway point of the episode. In terms of runtime. So, yeah, because it does, for a while, it feels like, you know how normally in sitcoms where they're like, they'll be, we're at the party of this big celebrity, but you'll never actually see them. It's just referenced that that's a thing. That's what it felt like for the first, until you meet Prince.
I guess it's kind of the point, because Prince does just appear.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's meant to be one of those, we're going to go to this thing. And the sitcom of we keep missing them. And I was expecting them to be kicked out, and then you hear Prince singing.
Yeah,
that would have been funny.
It was sort of disappointing how lax the security was on this party.
Yeah, with the Prince party, you'd think it would be.
Yeah,
you wouldn't be able to get up to the dry,
Yeah, but what they have is they have the picture of the Kardashians, and that's it. They are not allowed in.
I wonder what his beef with the Kardashians was.
I just don't think
he just said that they're not sort of people that would come to his party.
Fair.
It's so weird. Which just means he's not inviting them.
Yeah.
That's what that means. He's just saying I would never invite the Kardashians, which is fair.
Yeah, I wouldn't invite them to my party.
Because I can't imagine Prince's parties is a come on, come all. Everyone's invited. I imagine you got a purple letter that was dropped down by aeroplane.
Yeah. That's actually how he has to be on the show.
Yeah, when you open it, a puff of purple smoke happens and Prince himself appears as a hologram, and then personally invites you to his party, and then the letter explodes.
Yep.
And you are given a cease and desist letter. Told to never talk about it.
Cool, I can't wait for this podcast to get cancelled because we talked about Prince.
Well, I thank you for letting me watch it and exposing me to this. It
is exposing. It is exposing you to it.
It is an odd episode to jump into.
It does make me feel better about what I'm going to make you guys listen to now. I feel like actually you've set the bar for what is acceptable with quite strange.
Yeah, on future boneless episodes of Hey, I Love That Movie, because it's boneless because there's no structure.
Yeah.
Because if there was structure, I would have said this at the beginning.
Yep.
So yeah, as a boneless episode, the plan is for these. We're just going to talk about things we watched and or liked. New movies, weird movies, films that get in your head, films and TV that or songs that get in your head and just sort of stay there and live rent free. Because this episode lives rent free in my brain until now.
Do you feel like you got it out of your system? Has this been therapeutic for you?
Very. I can stop thinking about the Prince episode of New Girl. It just doesn't make any, for one final time, doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Anyway, thank you for listening, and I have been Michael.
I've been Helena.
And I've been Dan.
So that was our first episode of Hey, I Love This Thing I Just Watched and I Really Want to Talk About It. Listen in for future episodes. You can find us at Hilton Pod on Twitter and Instagram. That's at HILTM Pod, or you can probably, and from there you can find us and follow us individually if you want to.
So when are we getting an OnlyFans?
Well, now after October has ended, only on OnlyFans.
Oh no, yeah, you can't have a boned episode on OnlyFans anymore.
No, not anymore. It has to be boneless.
Yeah, no bones.
My audio is unusable.
Oh no.
So I realized about halfway through that I was listening to music. I turned it off, so like the last 10-ish minutes. But yeah, I was like, when I stopped talking, just mid-sentence just went dead. I realized that I was listening to music.